With the NBA play-in tournament concluding yesterday and the playoffs beginning today, it's time for us to discuss every playoff matchup and predict the 2023 NBA champions. Let's do it. Hey, welcome to Hooper's Radar. Today, guys, we'll be predicting every playoff series in this year's playoffs, and the way I'll be doing that is by filling out the NBA Pick'em Bracket Challenge, which if I can get right, which is pretty hard as you guys all know, I'll win some sort of prize or money. So to begin with the playoff series and my predictions, I'll be giving a couple of reasons as to why I'm picking what I'm picking, and we'll just go from there. So to begin, in the Denver Nuggets vs Minnesota series, which I think is going to be a very competitive series, every playoff series has some upset, at least one upset. It's like March Madness, except March Madness has way more upsets. But the NBA playoffs always have at least one upset, and I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves in 7. Now I'll explain to you why I'm picking the Minnesota Timberwolves in 7. The Nuggets haven't really gone much of anywhere with just Nikola Jokic. I know they have Jamal Murray healthy and Michael Porter Jr. healthy, and I believe the Nuggets go as far as Jamal Murray takes, so not Jokic. Because Jokic is pretty good in the playoffs, but the true playoff performer on this team, the last time I checked, was Jamal Murray. Back then, Jamal Murray went off against the Jazz and those teams they played during the bubble, and I believe the Nuggets go as far as he takes them, and I just like how Minnesota's been playing lately. Obviously, they couldn't win that first play-in game against the Lakers, but they were missing Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert, and they still put up one hell of a fight against the Lakers and nearly beat the Lakers without those two. Now with those two, they recently won the game against the Thunder for the 18 and blew out the Thunder. Gobert played great. Anthony Edwards had a much better game than that first game against the Lakers. Mike Conley's been playing very well too, and Cat has been their best player in the play-in tournament so far. So I like how this team matches up. I like Rudy Gobert in the paint, trying to hold Jokic. I do like how Cat's been playing a lot, and for that reason, I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves because I believe they have what it takes. And if any team can be upsetted, I think it's the Denver Nuggets for sure. For the second series between the Suns and the Clippers, we all know the Clippers are missing Paul George right now. And no, I'm not going to doubt the abilities of a clutch Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs. Playoff Kawhi is a thing, and this team does still have a lot of depth with Zubac, Norman Powell, who's been very good. Norman Powell has been great. Terrence Mann has been good. Russell Westbrook has been much better and has been a good fit on this team for sure. And I'm not going to doubt that the Clippers will put up a fight. But with that said, because you're missing Paul George and you're going against a team that has Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, who are two of the best shot creators in the NBA, and I don't even know about arguably, those two guys are top 5 mid-range scorers right now in the NBA, and they both can't be stopped. They both have tendencies of exploding for 30 points in the playoffs, and when you have a duo of those two, it's hard to beat that. You still have DeAndre Ayton holding things down at the middle. They have a very solid and competent center in him. And Chris Paul is their point guard. I think this Suns team is on a mission, and I believe they are 8-0 when Kevin Durant plays, and I don't think that'll stop. I think their Suns are going to lose games in the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to lose much to the Clippers, especially a Clippers team that's missing PG. And with that said, I'm picking the Suns in 6. I think the Clippers will give them a couple games. We'll win 2 games against them, give them solid competition, but the Suns do have a better team right now. And they've been very good with Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is what puts them over the edge in a lot of ways, I believe. For this third series between the Kings and the Warriors, a lot of people have been talking about this series. It's very anticipated. You have Mike Brown, who's a former Warriors coach. Two minds in Steve Kerr and Mike Brown. The Kings run a very similar offense to the Warriors. They do a lot of ball movement, a lot of handoffs. The way they use Draymond on the Warriors is the way they use Sabonis, except Sabonis is a much more offensive skill set. But they both do a lot of handoff actions and very similar teams in a way, except the Kings are the number 1 offense this year and the Warriors are not the number 1 offense. The Warriors have actually fell off defensively, and although the Kings are in a very good defense, neither have the Warriors been a very good defense this year. And even though things seem very even, I am going to take experience and the fact that this Warriors team does have Stephen Curry, who is by far the best player in the series, and Curry never fails to show up in the playoffs. He always shows up. Clay's been great. Andrew Wiggins is coming back. So there's a lot of optimism for this Warriors team. They had their up and downs a lot during the regular season. Haven't been quite the same team defensively because they take a lot of pride in their defensive identity this year. But with that said, because this is the Kings' first playoff series, I'm not holding out any ideas or possibilities that the Kings can win this series, but I'm leaning more to the Warriors side. I like the experience factor they have. I love that they have Stephen Curry, who is going to take them places. He's the one that takes them places. And they just have a very solid team still. I hope the Kings do put up a fight, but with that said, I'm going to pick the Warriors in 6. I think the Kings will put up a solid fight, and this will be a good test for the Warriors. I'm going to take them in 6. For the next series, Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers. Another very good series. You know, the Lakers, everybody hopes that those Lakers, you know, especially my Lakers fans. I know you guys hope that the Lakers are like the first 7 seed or one of those rare 7 seeds to win a championship. I'm leaning more towards the Lakers on this one. I know the Grizzlies have great players. You know, they take a lot of pride in their defense. You know, they have a lot of grit to that team. That team is a very young team that, you know, they talk a lot. You know, they're very cocky, but rightfully so. They are a very talented team. They haven't succeeded much in the playoffs yet. Got stopped by the Warriors last year. But the Grizzlies are a very good team. The Lakers, on the other hand, though, have been looking very good. I know they won that play-in game. I know they won that play-in game against Minnesota. I'm not going to take that too much hype because it is Minnesota. And even though Minnesota is really good, this is the Grizzlies we're talking about now. The Grizzlies, the 2 seed in the West. A team that is still very, very good without Ja Morant. But with that said, I love how this new Lakers roster has been looking. Everybody's been great. Dennis Schroeder's been great. LeBron's been great. Anthony Davis has been great. You know, they have a lot of great pieces like Rui, Malik Beasley. I like this team. Austin Reeves has been also amazing. I like this Lakers team. I think they're going to be very different this year. They have a very good roster for the first time in a bit. So with that said, I'm going to take the Lakers in 7. I'm not doubting the Memphis Grizzlies' ability to even possibly win this series. I think the series will be very close. The Grizzlies are still a very good team with a very good interior force in Jaren Jackson Jr. that can match up against AD. But I'm going to take the Lakers in 7 because I just like this roster and I like how they've been playing. And I think they will redeem themselves by winning a tough playoff series against the Grizzlies in 7. All right. With my next, I'll be going back to the Western Conference Finals. I'm going to take a break and go to the East real quick. And then I'll come back and give you guys my opinions on the West. For the East, the first Milwaukee series between Miami and Milwaukee. I'm sorry, guys. I love my Miami people. You know what I'm saying? But the Milwaukee Bucks are the 1 seed. The 8 seed Miami Heat have been through a lot this year. They've been very inconsistent. With that said, you know, the Milwaukee Bucks do have one of the best 6 men in Bobby Portis, a Defensive Player of the Year finalist in Brook Lopez, and another MVP finalist in Giannis. And then they have Jrue Holiday, who's a top 5 defending perimeter guard and is an offensive unit at the same time. This guy's been great this entire year. And this Bucks team has been healthy for nearly the whole year. Chris Middleton's been the only one in and out of the lineup like that. Giannis with a little bit of injuries, it happens. This Bucks team has just been very consistent. They are the 1 seed in the East for a reason. Miami has had so many inconsistencies. They just came off a tough play-in win against the Chicago Bulls where Jimmy Butler had to bring out the inner Michael Jordan in him. The Miami Heat go as far as Jimmy Butler, and I just don't think Jimmy Butler's enough to handle this Bucks team. I love how the Miami Heat and Milwaukee continue to face each other almost every year in the playoffs, and it either goes in Miami's way or Milwaukee's way. But I think this year Milwaukee is just way too good for Miami, and I think Milwaukee wins this series in 5 because you can't doubt Jimmy Butler's ability to at least win you 1 game. So I'm going to go the Milwaukee Bucks in 5. For the Cavs-Knicks series, a lot of people have been talking about this series a lot. This is similar to the Warriors and Kings series. I think this is a very even series. 2 teams that are just very good. 2 teams that can both beat each other in 7, I believe. And it's going to be a tough series. You know, you got Donovan Mitchell on one team. You got Jalen Brunson on the other. I love the Knicks grit. Like, they've been so good that second half of the season and just been pretty good throughout the whole season. Julius Randle's been great, even though he's coming off an injury now. Emmanuel Quickley is one of the best 6 men in the league. He's a 6 Man of the Year finalist. I love this team a lot. Mitchell Robinson's a very solid, competent center that can do a lot of things for this team. I just like this Knicks team. RJ Barrett, though inconsistent, is also a good player. This Knicks team is very well coached as well. This Knicks team could beat Cleveland, but I also like Cleveland. I love Cleveland a lot. They got Darius Garland, great playmaking guard. You know, we already know what Donovan can do. And then that front court, that defensive front court that Cleveland has, and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I think will be a key factor in this series. That's just what makes this Cleveland Cavaliers team great. They have such, like, against any elite big men, which this New York team doesn't have an elite big men. I mean, unless you count Julius Randle. That's what Cleveland does best, I think, is they're best equipped to lock up elite big men. But I just like this Cleveland team a lot. I don't think they're not as deep as the Knicks, but I believe they do have the better starting lineup. And Donovan Mitchell is the best player in this series, hands down, and is a playoff performer most of the time. So with that said, because this is a very even matchup and tough tough to pick. I'm gonna go the Cleveland Cavaliers in 7. They're gonna get a rough win over the Knicks in a long series. All right, for the 76ers Brooklyn team, 76ers Brooklyn Nets series. The Nets are a very fun team to watch. You know, they don't have the biggest expectations. The 76ers, on the other hand, have the MVP in my opinion. He hasn't won MVP yet, but he's going to win MVP, I believe. Joel Embiid has been amazing all year. James Harden has been also very good. Let's see what version of James Harden we get this playoffs. If we get a aggressive James Harden who wants to win, or we get sometimes a passive one that tends to disappear, I guess we'll see. With that said, because the 76ers have been just great all year, they've been very good, especially after that All-Star break. They've barely lost any games in that last stretch of the season. And the Nets are a fun team that, although have Mikal Bridges, who's been emerging into a superstar, they don't have enough star pieces around them to get much more done outside of Mikal Bridges, and they lack in offense. They have pretty good defense. You got Claxton still. Spencer Dinwiddie's nice. You have good pieces, but I believe they do need more star power. Mikal Bridges is not enough to just carry this team. And with that said, I'm going to take the 76ers, who've just been amazing all year, have the right pieces and everything. I'm taking Philly in 5. I don't think the series will be too long of them. It'll be similar to maybe that Raptors series, except the Raptors are probably better than the Nets. But this will be a fun series to watch, you know, watching Mikal Bridges go off and try to put up a fight against this Philly team. But this Philly team does have very big championship expectations, and I think they are contenders. So I'm going to go with them in 5. The Celtics and Atlanta Hawks series, a series that I believe is going to be boring. I'm not going to really watch this series much unless Atlanta can turn things up and give Boston a challenge. There's a reason most people are picking the Celtics over the Hawks. The Celtics were arguably the number 1 team in the East all season, and I mean the number 1 team in terms of the best actual team in the regular season. They did finish number 2, but that's just because, you know, little 2-game differences in wins. The Celtics were the 1 seed longer than the Bucks were in the regular season this year. And they were in the finals last year. They're coming off a finals run. They are hungrier than ever. You never doubt that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown duo, those two are amazing. And this team goes as far as they do. They have a lot of depth. They got guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, Marcus Smart, Rob Williams, Al Horford, who have been amazing, can shoot the ball in an elite clip. This Celtics team just has everything you need. It's just, this team is so deep. I don't want to doubt the Bucks. I don't want to doubt the Celtics. The Hawks have had it rough a lot throughout this year. Even though they beat the Miami Heat very convincingly in that first play-in, it's the Miami Heat. They're not as good as the Bucks. I keep mistaking the Bucks. They're not as good as the Celtics this year. And because I believe the Celtics just match up great against the Hawks with that wing height and that wing defense and Tatum and Brown, and then you have Smart. I believe they'll lock up Trae Young. They'll do a very good job of guarding DeJounte Murray. Clint Capella is probably going to feed on this Celtics team because Al Horford is your starting center, cannot hold Clint Capella on the defensive glass. But I believe Boston's just a way better team. We've all seen them, how good they've been. So with that reason, I'm taking Boston as my first sweep. Boston will take this in 4 games. All right, going back to the Western Conference Finals. Let's talk Western Conference Finals. So for my teams that will be making the Western Conference Finals, I'm going to be going for this Minnesota Sun series. This Minnesota Sun series is going to be very tough. And I mean very, very tough. For the Minnesota Sun series, I'm going to be going Suns in 5. Here's why. This Minnesota team, though did pull off an upset against Denver, is going against a very offensively talented Suns team who can also play a lot of defense, and I just think they clearly get outmatched on the offensive side. I mean, who on this Timberwolves team is going to guard Kevin Durant? Who's guarding Kevin Durant? And then if you manage to somewhat bother Kevin Durant, who's guarding Devin Booker? These two guys are both explosive. They'll probably combine for, I think Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are both easily capable of combining for 70 in multiple playoff games, and I think we're going to see that throughout this playoffs, how good they both can be together. They're both too lethal. This Timberwolves team doesn't have the defenders to put on them. Jaden McDaniels is out for the playoffs, and I don't think the offense that the Timberwolves can handle is as good as the Phoenix Suns offense that they have. And you got to guard Chris Paul, who, don't get me wrong, Chris Paul is not the same Chris Paul, but if you leave Chris Paul open or don't give Chris Paul much attention, Chris Paul will give you 20. I've seen it in the playoffs. He does have those vintage performances in the playoffs because it matters most. So with that said, the Suns are just, I think, clearly the way better team. I'm going Suns in 5. And then Warriors-Lakers, a very good series. I hope this series does happen. I've been waiting to see Stephen Curry and LeBron match up in the playoffs for the first time in a while. since those Cleveland Warriors days, and I think they'll match up this time around, the 6-7 seed matchup. And with that said, because these are two very good teams, very good disciplined teams, two teams that are pretty deep, even though I'm going to say the Lakers are deeper, do have LeBron and AD, but you never doubt Curry. I don't think anybody on that Lakers team can lock up Curry. Even though Dennis Schroeder's been very good defensively, you have a lot of good defenders on the Lakers. I'm going to go the Lakers in 7. I think this series can go either way. Every time I pick a series in 7, it's because I believe any team can go either way. But I just think that one team has something that can edge them out, and I believe the part that can edge out the Why did I pick the Warriors in 7? I meant the Lakers in 7. I believe the part that will edge out the Warriors in 7 from the Lakers is the fact that the Lakers have Anthony Davis and LeBron, who Draymond cannot lock up Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is much bigger than Draymond. And if the Warriors go small ball, Anthony Davis will give them problems, I believe. LeBron, clutch playoff performer. I don't think Andrew Wiggins will lock up LeBron at all. And we got to see what version of Andrew Wiggins we get. I just like this Lakers team. It will be a tough series, but I think the Lakers' depth, especially with how great Dennis Schroeder's been, Austin Reeves has been, will get them through this Warriors team and put them in the conference finals against the Suns. Now, for the Suns and Lakers matchup, this is going to be a very good matchup. I've been waiting to also see Kevin Durant versus LeBron for a while. Wow, this is going to be one hell of a playoff series. I've been waiting. I really have been waiting to see Durant and LeBron face off for a while. I hope it happens. This is going to be another great series. I believe this one will also go 7. I'm going to go Suns in 7, and I'll give you the reason why. I believe the Suns have the better offensive team than the Lakers. The Lakers' offense isn't as smooth. It's a little bit more rough around the edges. Yes, you do have Anthony Davis, who I believe will outperform DeAndre Ayton. But then who on this team is going to guard Durant? I don't think LeBron still has the pure athleticism to guard Durant. I think Durant will play very good in this series. And then you have to worry about Devin Booker too. It's just the offensive power on the Suns team is crazy. You don't have to worry much about depth in the playoffs, though the Lakers are the deeper team and they can throw guys at the Suns. That Suns starting lineup, in my opinion, is very equal, if not just a little bit better, the Suns than the Lakers, in my opinion. And I believe the Suns will barely edge this one out, as they've had the easier playoff run, more rest, and have been the more consistent team throughout the regular season. I mean, the Suns only played the Wolves and the Nuggets. Only played the Wolves and the Clippers throughout the playoffs. The Lakers would be coming from 2 deep series between the Warriors and Grizzlies, who they had to beat in 7. And because of that, I believe the Suns will be more energized, have it go on the Suns. Though the Lakers put up a great fight in 7 games, the Suns will edge this one out and return to the NBA Finals. Now going to the East. For my teams that will make the conference finals, we'll start with Milwaukee and Cleveland. I believe this will be another great series between Milwaukee and Cleveland. The Bucks are a very good team. Like I've already said that before. The Cavs are also a very good team. I think the Cavs front court could pose problems for Giannis. But with that said, he still is Giannis. If voter fatigue wasn't a thing, I believe Giannis could also win the MVP this year. And he's just unstoppable. We've seen him perform in the playoffs, come up when it's needed multiple times. He's just an interior force. And Evan Mobley and Jared Allen will either lock up Giannis or Giannis will foul one of them out. With that said, I think the Bucks are still the better team. They're just all around great. As much as Cleveland has a great front court that's defensively elite, so does Milwaukee. You still have Brook Lopez and Giannis in that front court, and that's just also elite defensively. So with that said, I believe Milwaukee is still the way better team. But the Cleveland can get away with 2 games, and Cleveland could put up a very solid fight because you still have to worry about Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland giving you problems on the offensive end. But because Cleveland, I believe, lacks a little bit comparison to Milwaukee, who is the better team, I'm going to go Milwaukee in 6. Cleveland will put up a solid fight for sure. And then Philadelphia and Boston, another very good series. I believe these two have faced off during the they faced off in the bubble season. And I believe the Celtics took that one pretty easily. But they will be rematching this time, and this time it will be a much more different. There won't be no Ben Simmons. This will be James Harden. Hopefully a James Harden that will perform well in that first round and will show us that he can perform very well in the playoffs. This is going to be a very good series between the 76ers and the Celtics. You have that Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown versus a very nice trio of Tyrese, James Harden, and Joel Embiid. Because this will be a very competitive series in my opinion, I believe Boston just has defensive weapons equipped to lock down James Harden, lock down Tyrese. I don't know exactly who's going to lock down Joel Embiid because Al Horford starts on the Celtics as their 5, I believe, and Robert Williams comes off the bench. And even though Robert Williams is very good defensively, I'm yet to see someone really lock up Joel Embiid. And that's the only weakness that the Celtics can do is lock up Joel Embiid. But if you can lock up Harden, and you can lock up that Harden pick and roll in Joel Embiid, which helps their offense flow a lot, and you can also limit their shooters, which shoot very well, which the Celtics team is very equipped to limit their shooters. They have great perimeter defenders. Like I said, you already have the J duo. You already have Marcus Smart. Derek White's been good. Malcolm Brogdon's been good. They have a lot of great perimeter defenders. They have the defense to lock up shooting from Philadelphia. It's just a Joel Embiid problem. I think Boston is the better team. They've shown it. They have more weapons equipped offensively and defensively to take down this Philly team. Like I said, depth is not the biggest thing, but this team is very deep, and they do have a lot of guys that can throw, play defense. Everybody on this Celtics team is more in sync. They all flow like on the same network of offense, and because of that, I'm going to pick the Celtics in 6. I don't believe it's going to be going 7. I think the Celtics are the better team for sure, but Philadelphia will win 2 games out with Joel Embiid having big performances. So now we are down to the Eastern Conference Finals for the East. We have a very anticipated matchup, which a lot of us are probably already anticipated. I know a lot of us think Milwaukee and Boston are the 2 clear-cut teams, aside from the Suns, or on top of the Suns to win the finals or go to the finals. They've been the 2 best clear teams all regular season in the East. They've both been fighting for the 1 seed constantly. Milwaukee got it. This will be a very good playoff series. This one happened last year, and the Celtics made it out. Giannis still played great in that series, but the Celtics did make it out. They will be rematching this time around. And because I believe the Bucks have been better this year with guys taking leaps, Bobby Portis has been great already. Grayson Allen's been a great shooter. Like I said, Drew Holiday is still Drew Holiday was an all-star this year, and he's still an elite perimeter defender. Gives you great offense. You do have Brook Lopez, who although is a vet, he took a leap this year and made a defensive player of the year case for himself and has been great. Boston's been also amazing all year. This is just a hard series for me to explain. It's obviously going to be going 7 games, but I believe the Bucks are more determined to get back to the finals this year, and they do have the best player in this series, clear-cut best player, and they do have the best player in the world. I'm going to be going with the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe Giannis will move the Bucks past the Celtics in 7 games. And all of a sudden, we have, in recent years, an NBA Finals rematch between the Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. I didn't think we'd get to this point. Hopefully, my bracket does pan out well. However, things happen that the Suns and the Bucks do end up back in the finals. This will be an anticipated matchup. You have Giannis versus Kevin Durant. The finals, Devin Booker's back this time around. And the Suns-Bucks rematch would be nice. It would be ironic. It'd be funny because, they were just in the finals. I believe the Suns will not choke away this time. I believe now because the Suns have Kevin Durant in their corner, who's top 5 player in the league and is super clutch and it's just amazing. I believe the Suns over the Bucks. These are just 2 deep teams. I can't really help explain what the Suns will edge out. I think it'll come down obviously to 7 games. It will be a very close game, but I think the offensive and elite scoring duo of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant will be a lot for them to handle. All of the Bucks have Giannis. They don't have an elite duo that can go shot for shot, just ISO back to back like Chris Paul and Kevin Durant can. And because their offense has just been great, I think the Suns will edge this one out and beat the Bucks and get their revenge back in 7 games. I believe Chris Paul will finally get his championship. Because of Kevin Durant, I think a lot of things have changed for the Suns team, expectations and performances, and they're just a much better team with him. It's that duo of him and Book, and then you still have Chris Paul, who can give you 20 in important performances if he doesn't get attention. This is just a nice Suns team, and I believe the Suns will edge out the Bucks in a tight series and win in 7. Now, I'm not great with margins, I'm not going to lie to you, but it does ask for me to give you guys the NBA Pick'em Challenge a margin, and I believe this will be a close series, but an exhausting 7 game can make out for big leads or blowouts. So this won't be a blowout. I think the Suns will just easily win. Not easily, I'm sorry. I believe the Suns will edge this one out with 8 points. I'll be submitting this after the video is done, but this is my NBA playoff predictions, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this. Those are my entire predictions for the playoffs. If you guys want to share with me, let me know your predictions in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed. For more content like this, please make sure to like and subscribe to stay on the radar for all things basketball.